Joshua Kemble, and this is vlog number 53. This is the vlog where I talk about quarterly stories, which is my graphic novel that I handwrite, hand letter, and hand ink, and then hand to you, hopefully in print. But for now, while I'm waiting to collect enough pages to print, it's serializing at quarterlystories.com. It is a story about faith and mental illness. It's a very personal story to me, and this is the vlog where I document the process of creating the time and creating the work to get this graphic novel completed, on top of being a full-time art director and full-time dad and husband. I'm on my way home from work, and right now below me I should be inking panel 6 of page 46 of Quarterly Stories. And so I'm getting a little further along on the page. I'd like to honestly get further, but you know, I try to put in at least 30 minutes a day in order to make this stuff happen. So what have I been thinking about today? Well, today I've been thinking about just patience in general, because last night I inked one panel, went to the zoo. You can see it on episode 52, on vlog 52. You can check it out. And we went to, you know, we had a pretty busy weekend, and we went to the zoo. And I got home and I inked one panel, and there is this part of me that is always saying, well, that's not enough. And today, I know when I get home and I ink this panel, I'm only 3 panels at that point, whenever I complete whatever I'm working on down here. I'm only really 3 panels away from finished. And so, with that page. And so there's this instinct, and the younger me would usually stay up all night and just knock out the page. And that's tempting for me, but I'm juggling this interesting amount of hats, basically. And that's part of what you do as an art director, is you wear a lot of hats. You're multitasking a lot. On one hand, you're dealing with a printer. On another, you're dealing with sales departments. On another, you're dealing with clients. On another, you're dealing with printer errors or factory errors. And on the other, and more important note, you're dealing with people. You're leading a department, and, you know, much like any people, they're unpredictable, and they all have their own personal lives, and you have to make sure that hopefully they're motivated and inspired, and they have the tools and resources they need and the direction they need to do their best work on each design. And so that's a lot of multitasking just at work. And one of the things that I've gotten really comfortable with on my day job is the fact that you kind of need to roll with the punches, because it gets crazy, especially during rush season. And there are parts where you're out in the ocean and you're on your ship and you really feel like you guys are going to sink in the storm. But you also have to project to your staff and your team that are on the ship with you that, you know, you can get through the storm. And you start getting this weird confidence after a few years at it that you know you'll get through the storm, because you do every year. You have a strong team that is going to make that happen, and that you are not the only person on the ship. You're just the captain, and you're totally reliant on your crew. Anyhow, the point of that is I, in my personal life, need to become more comfortable with patience, and understand that, like, 30 minutes a day sometimes does become 2 hours a day. Sometimes it becomes, you know, 5 minutes a day. But regardless, progress is better than no progress. And I think a few vlogs back I talked about burnout, and that's something you really want to avoid when you're juggling your own personal projects. And it's something I used to do quite frequently when I was a freelancer. I would say I had a window of time to work on my own personal projects. I'd stay up all night and work on my personal project at the cost of my personal life. You know, sometimes flaking on hanging out with friends, or, you know, hanging out with my wife, in order to catch up on sleep, because I had missed sleep because I was being overly ambitious and working too hard on my own personal projects. And that's not to say that you shouldn't work hard, and sometimes that personal life will suffer if you're working on a personal project. I mean, inevitably, when you take on personal projects or personal goals, and you're trying to kind of move past what your day-to-day is, like you're not comfortable or content with just this is it, and you want to actually move your life forward, it does require work. And that's if you're exercising or doing anything positive in your life. It's gonna, everything costs something, and time definitely is expensive, and it's gonna cost something. So if you're gonna add time for a project to your daily life, then something is gonna have to give, and something is going to have time removed from it. And so basically, my point is not that I should work less hard on comics or make less time for comics. I think that the time that I've allotted for comics is quite a lot of time, and it will be enough time. And that if I start trying to be too gung-ho about it, then it might actually end up rushing my pages, or losing interest in my pages, and wind up with a mediocre product. Whereas if I stay slow and steady with it, like I said back on the Tortoise vlog, this is gonna get done and get done right, and that to me is far more important. I don't really see a lot of money at the finish line on this project, but what I do see at the finish line is a book that I can be really proud of, and convention with, and know that it's the best book that I could make at the time I made it, and that it's a good book, and not feel like a huckster kind of selling it to people. So, point being, today I've just been thinking about that, and I've been thinking about how, sometimes when you're ambitious and you're pushing for things to happen in your life, it can be a really good thing to hear that voice that's kind of kicking you in the pants going, come on, work on your project. But when you are putting in the work and you start hearing that voice, not enough, to me, I think there's a fine line between that being healthy and being depression. And so I really don't want to listen to negativity in my own head. I don't want to pay attention to negative voices saying I'm not doing enough, because in reality, I'm doing quite a lot, and sometimes I'm actually doing too much. And so that's not a justification for laziness, like I said. That's just reality. Like, in reality, I do need to have a stable income in order to support my family, and I also do need sleep occasionally. So sleeping less is not a bad idea, but not sleeping at all is not a good idea, and I need to keep that in check about myself. So that's what I've been thinking about today, and by now I've probably inked a panel in the process below. But I was kind of curious to hear what you guys think about, like, how you guys deal with that voice in your head that's saying not enough. And this specifically applies to people who are actually being really ambitious on projects, which I know there are a lot of my YouTube followers are that way. So how do you deal with those voices? Do you take them very seriously? Do you recognize them as self-doubt? Or for you, is it maybe a necessary voice that's pushing you to work harder, to practice harder, to refine better? I also was stuck behind a car that was going like 2 miles an hour. Thank you so much to those of you who have subscribed, commented, and liked my YouTube page. I can't speak enough about how much subscriptions and liking and commenting and watching these videos really affects my ability to keep doing them. Basically, it helps spread the word and build the community on YouTube when you do those things. And so for those of you who constantly are commenting and giving input and sharing these videos, I just really want to say a really heartfelt thank you, because there are days like today where frankly, like today I woke up, feeling pretty positive, feeling like I got a lot done. And by the end of the day, when I got off work, right now on my drive home, I'm just having a lot of that negative nonsense, come through my mind about like how what I'm doing is not enough or it's not good enough. And these are things that I rarely experience. I used to experience all the time. And, it definitely helps to have people kind of supporting and interested in what I'm doing out there to kind of help calm a lot of those voices. So, anyhow, want to hear about your negative voices. Maybe you guys have completely quashed the negative self-doubting voice. But for me, today was one of those weird days of like, yeah, I've been hearing that voice a lot. And it's not necessarily a good voice. That's an old friend that I recognize as, being kind of motivated by depression. And I'm not depressed in my life, but because I have suffered from depression in the past, I can recognize those little friendly old voices. And it's like a dark cloud. It's like if you had a friend who was a dark cloud that just kind of appeared sometimes and just said like, hey buddy, how's it going? I'm going to say a bunch of negative shit to you. Anyhow, so totally random vlog, but by now I should have wrapped up my inking. So once again, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next week, or maybe possibly tomorrow.